Retired Catholic priest Lawrence Hecker made his first appearance in court today after he was charged with aggravated rape, kidnapping, and 2 other felonies last week. Our eyewitness investigator David Hammer got an exclusive interview with Hecker last month where he admitted to having sex with underage boys. Now, David is joining us now in the studio with today's update. What can you tell us? And good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, Whitney. Yeah, tomorrow is Lawrence Hecker's 92nd birthday. But today, this morning, he was in criminal court in an orange jumpsuit and yellow handcuffs, learning that he'll likely have to spend the day in jail and many days in jail for his birthday and beyond. Judge Ben Willard set Hecker's bond above $800,000. Hecker's defense attorney, Bobby Hortzberg, says his client doesn't have the money to get out of jail. He wants a new hearing to argue that Hecker is, quote, not all there and should be placed on home confinement. But when we interviewed him last month, he stood for 18 minutes and answered all our questions, and he admitted he had sex with at least 3 underage boys in the 1960s and 70s.
Not one chance in a million that anything like this would ever happen again. That obviously I'm truly repentant.
He admitted to sexual relations with underage kids, at least 3 of them, in an interview with me. Should that be presentable in this case, even though this is a different charge?
Look, we're going to have an opportunity to argue all these things in court.
Now, Hecker is accused of choking out and raping a teenage boy in 1975 or 76. I did ask Hecker in that interview last month if he ever had sex with anyone against their will, and he emphatically said no. The last time a clergyman was charged with child rape in 2019, Deacon George Brignac was given just $40,000 bond and not $800,000 like Hecker did today. After today's hearing, a sheriff's deputy pushed Hecker out of the courtroom in a wheelchair to bring him back to jail, where he'll likely have to stay for quite a while. Whitney?
Priest Lawrence Hecker was arraigned today on rape, kidnapping, and more charges. Last month, eyewitness investigator David Hammer got an exclusive interview with Hecker where he admitted to having sex with several underage boys. David was in court today and joins us now with this update.
Tomorrow is Lawrence Hecker's 92nd birthday. He's likely to spend it and many more days after it in jail as he awaits trial on child rape and kidnapping charges. A grand jury charged Hecker last week with overpowering and raping a teenage boy in 1975 or 1976. The alleged victim's attorney, Richard Trahant, says the priest subdued his client when he was 15 or 16 years old in the church attached to his high school.
Simply put, Hecker choked him out and sodomized him while he was unconscious.
Judge Ben Willard set Hecker's bond today above $800,000. Hecker's defense attorney, Bobby Hortzberg, says his client is old, infirm, and can't afford to make bail that high. He asked the judge for a new hearing to reconsider a lower bond.
He doesn't hear well. His brain functions a little bit slower. He's a 91-year-old man.
And we anticipated that this would be exactly their defense. Oh, Hecker's too old, Hecker's too confused, he's mentally compromised. He is not.
Just last month, Hecker stood for an interview with us for 18 minutes and clearly answered all our questions. That included his first public confession to having sex with underage boys in the 1960s and 70s, boys he said were, quote, willing. Do you feel that a 15-year-old boy can be willing to have sex with an adult, particularly a priest?
Right now, no. Definitely not.
But why would that be different then than it is now?
Because it was a sexual revolution, and people were saying, oh, look, we were bound all these years, all these centuries, now we're free. And I fell for that.
In that interview, he emphatically denied the forcible rape now alleged by prosecutors.
Have you choked a child until he was unconscious and then raped him?
No.
You deny that you ever raped anybody against their will?
Yes.
The last time a Catholic clergyman was charged with child rape was Deacon George Brignac in 2019. His bond was set at $40,000, much lower than the $800,000 plus for Hecker. Brignac was 85 at the time and ended up dying before going to trial. Prosecutors say they don't want that to happen with Hecker.